I am absolutely terrified about this interview. I'm going to be asked a lot of questions I'm slightly uncomfortable to answer.
Cheryl Cole right now is probably the most talked about woman in Britain.
I think it's just about time that I draw a line under all the speculation and the rumours and give myself my own voice back.
I want to know the truth about the malaria. And I also want to know the truth about her breakup and divorce from Ashley Cole.
Just want to get it off my chest and move on.
How are you feeling?
Terrified.
Why?
This stuff I have never spoke about.
It's been a weird couple of weeks for you, hasn't it? You've had this sort of barrage of stuff that's come after a really difficult year for you. Has it been hard for you to suddenly find the headlines so negative?
Maybe sometimes it becomes a problem for me, especially over the last couple of years. I've stopped reading everything because I can't cope with it. So it's easier for me to be oblivious to that so I can deal with it. So I'm not sure of all the bad stuff. I know what's going on, obviously. And I have experienced negative press before, and it's horrible.
What kind of reaction did you think you'd get tonight from the audience?
Do you know what? I've had some... You wouldn't believe the support I've had from the public. It's like... It's overwhelming. And it makes me strong.
The thing about being on the front pages all the time is everyone becomes obsessed with how you look, and that's turned you into this massive style icon.
But I don't think I'm a style icon.
Yes, you are.
Not at all.
Ladies, is she?
Sometimes I just want to rock out in my scruffs and my Uggs, you know? It's like...
Your scruffs and your Uggs?
Yeah.
What are scruffs?
You know, like your old tracksuit that feels really comfortable and maybe have a bit of ketchup on there and...
Something inside me is dying here. Can you not...
I'm sorry.
Can we not kill the dream?
I'm sorry.
I read that you spend £250,000 a year on clothing.
And
I note no immediate denial.
I mean, to me, that just seems so ridiculous. It doesn't even justify an answer.
Ridiculous, but is it untrue?
So, 200... I mean, I don't know where these people think I find the time to spend £250,000. It takes a pretty long time to spend that amount of money.
When I went in your dressing room earlier, there was one of the greatest glam entourages I think I've ever seen. I mean, literally, it was spilling out of every corner.
Right.
Preparing every tiny molluscule of this...
Right. Piers, is that a slight exaggeration?
Maybe. How big is the Cheryl Glam Squad?
Do you know, it's funny you should say that, because most people I meet say to me I've got the smallest team they know.
No, I have. And it shows, I know. When you pick up a newspaper and you've not been looking your perfect best, do you feel, again, that particular pressure that female stars feel?
Oh, I feel pressure. Too right, yeah, of course.
So I remember working with Amanda Holden on Britain's Got Talent when Kelly Brook got signed, and she went into a kind of meltdown for 3 days because we'd walk out and she'd have to face the press every day with Kelly coming out looking like a supermodel.
I think that's really sad, actually, that people pit women against each other like that. Because Amanda is beautiful in her own way, but she might not have Amanda's brains.
No, she hasn't. No offence.
Women have a hard time of it because they're compared to each other. It's not always about what shoes you got on or what dress or how much your dress was. That's just irritating.
You were once crowned most attractive girl at Gateshead's Metro Centre.
Woo! that embarrassing.
Were you proud at the time? Was this a big moment?
Proudest moment in my life.
How do you think your personal style's evolved, though, from the days of the Gateshead Metro tournament? I've seen pictures of you then, and, you know, you were very much a young thing trying to make your way in fashion.
I was a teenager, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was very much a tomboy. And I wasn't surrounded by glamour. I wasn't one of those girls that went out and bought all the magazines off the shelf or anything like that. I just kind of plodded on with my own thing. I used to watch performances and probably try and dress more like a costume than an outfit. You know, more like a pop star.
Who did you like to imitate? Anyone? Was there anyone that inspired you, fashion-wise?
Britney.
Really?
Yeah.
That would explain some of the outfits.
And people like TLC. I thought myself a bit of a hip-hop girl. So I wanted to wear baggy trousers and Timberland boots and...
But that's not where you've got to now, is it?
I don't think if you asked anybody what they wore when they were 16, they'd be the same now at 27. I would like to not think so.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because we have actually got some photographic evidence to remind you of some of the Cheryl Cole looks over the years. What I want you to do is just tell me which ones you thought worked and which ones maybe weren't quite so successful. So I think we'll start with the sporty Cheryl look.
It's coming back around, that one. It's the jumpsuit era. We all wore them.
So marks out of 10?
4.
Next is the Vicky Pollard, Cheryl.
Oh, jeez. What was I thinking? What was I thinking?
Marks out of 10?
-1.
Now we're seeing a bit of a transformation here.
Are we?
Now, this is a bit more like it, isn't it?
It's a little bit strange looking back because I know how I felt then and I feel like a different person.
How did you feel then?
Like I was just starting to grow up, if you know what I mean.
Mm. When you look at Cheryl there, do you think you were happier then than you are right now?
In some ways.
What ways?
I don't know, maybe a little bit freer.
Freer?
Just a little bit... Like, it's got to a point where the paparazzi are intimidated. And I got so associated them so much with pain that now it's not fun like it was then.
They're only after one thing, really, you looking upset.
Yeah.
As it goes with the story. Some people tried to suggest that you were being racist.
I can't even justify that with an answer. I can't. It's ridiculous.
Louis Walsh said recently that it's not all about you, Cheryl, but the truth is, as you've admitted yourself, it often is. Cheryl Cole, the girl next door who is anything but ordinary.
If I knew what made Cheryl special, I'd literally bottle and sell it.
I just think it's the aura she gives off. I don't know how to explain it.
Cheryl's popularity is off the scale. Everybody loves Cheryl, people of all ages.
Cheryl's just the perfect pop star.
Through sheer grit and determination, Cheryl has become one of the biggest stars in Britain.
From the beginning, she came into this world knowing what she wanted.
She believes she can walk through glass. And you know what? She can.
Do not underestimate Cheryl Cole. She's not stupid. She knows exactly what she's doing. I mean, she has me wrapped round her little finger.
From an early age, it was clear that Cheryl was going places.
The first day I took her to the dancing school, this teacher at the end of the first class came out and said, You know, she's very special. She's got something special here.
In the last 2 years, the word Cheryl Cole had been mentioned over 18,000 times in British newspapers.
Everyone wants a piece of Cheryl. She's huge.
Cheryl inhabits a place in the public's heart that only sort of Take That and David Beckham and Lady Diana seem to inhabit.
And it's no wonder. Not only is she one of Girls Aloud, Britain's biggest girl band, she married and then divorced one of the country's most famous footballers. Oh, and she also happens to be a judge on the biggest show on TV.
It's really hard to do normal things like go to the supermarket, you know, go get petrol, go get, a bottle of milk.
People feel like they kind of own a little piece of Cheryl.
On average, there are 25 different stories written about her every day.
I saw Cheryl's collapsed, and I just thought, another story, another rumour. And it wasn't until I got the call that I was like, whoa.
But how many of the things we read about Cheryl can we actually believe?
With the press, I find there's a lot written that is so untrue. It's just so fabricated.
Things are being made up about her all the time in the press, and the amount of attention that she gets is out of control.
All attention for Cheryl Cole is good attention. She don't care. As long as she's in the headlines, it don't matter what they're saying.
Is Pete Waterman right?
Couldn't be more wrong. Because it's not a soap opera, it's my life.
What are the most hurtful things you've had to read about yourself?
In the past, everything used to get to us. Everything. Because it's hard, because people don't really know you. They know what they're being given and the information they're being fed, that's it. That's all they know. So they develop their own perception of who you are, who you must be because of what they read. So it's frustrating because you want to say, no, do you know, I'm not like that. And if I was reading that, I wouldn't like me.
I mean, all this stuff with Gamu, the X Factor contestant,
Yeah.
has turned you from kind of, Mother Teresa to Cruella de Vil. Do you regret not putting Gamu through to your final choice?
It's one of those things where when you're sat there for those 2 days, bearing in mind I hadn't been to boot camp or I hadn't experienced any of that. All I had was the tape and the girl that was in front of us there and then. And it's a lot more than just hearing somebody sing. I have to take these girls and put them on a TV show and create something week on, week out. And that's what I'm looking at. And I'm looking for a twinkle in their eye, or I'm looking for an instinct I feel when I'm with them. You make decisions, and I thought I made the right decision. And I trust that decision, and I believe in my decision. So it's difficult because I also understand that everybody's got an opinion.
Some people tried to suggest that you were being racist.
I can't even justify that with an answer. I mean, I just can't. It's just ridiculous. I can't. It's ridiculous.
Is it hurtful when people do that? Or can you now somehow block it out?
I can now somehow block it out because things have become so stupid. When you need a kicking, you need a kicking, and if sometimes I make a wrong choice or it doesn't go with the grain, then I'll put my hands up and say, OK.
How did you feel on a human level to Gamu, given that she's very young?
Awful, awful, awful.
Have you spoken to her since?
I can't. I don't know what to say. What am I supposed to say? By the way, I'm sorry I didn't take you any further. And I'm sorry now that your life's upside down. What am I supposed to say?
Were you made aware at any stage of any of the deportation issues?
Absolutely not.
Do you think anybody knew, or has this been a big
Nobody
surprise?
knew, that's what I mean.
She was judged purely on her singing ability, as far as you're concerned?
100%. Nobody knew at that stage, I don't think, not even the newspapers. Nobody knew at that stage. When we did the audition, it was purely based on how each girl performed over those couple of days. let's not get carried away with ourselves here. We're making a TV show. Okay, it's a TV show. This now has become her life. Forget the singing competition is upside down. And that's something that has nothing to do with the programme, that the programme couldn't help, and something she now has to face and deal with. And I don't know what you say to that.
Well, so I think forget the programme for a moment. On a human level.
On a human level,
woman
it's
to young
terrible.
woman, what would you say? As someone who, by the way, you yourself auditioned for shows. You got
Yes.
lucky and won, and your career went into the stratosphere. So you know that desperation that people feel when they get to that stage, because you were there. I think probably on that level, what would you say to her now to try and make her feel better than she probably is?
Well, it's one of those things where it's become so much more than it ever was, and I didn't judge her or make that decision based on the information I know now. It's not. It's irrelevant. That part of it was irrelevant, and I thought all 8 girls were fantastic in terms of the singing competition. And I would say to all the people that didn't make it through any further to just keep trying and try again, and don't let go of your dreams. But I can't make that a personal opinion towards Gamu because of her situation now, because that wasn't at all in my mind when I made the choice I made.
When the doctor said there was a possibility you might die, what was going through your mind?
I was actually thinking, if it's going to happen, please just hurry up.
Of all the stories that appear about you, I would guess about 90% are near enough untrue. Here's a chance to put a few things straight. You ready?
I don't know.
Have you or have you not ever had a boob job?
Not.
Really?
Absolutely not. And it's not one of those things that I frown upon or I judge anybody for. If it's something I had done, it's something I'd be quite willing to say I had it done. It's not like a top secret. It's not like I would be the only person that ever had it done. I just haven't had it done.
So are you quite flattered that everyone thinks you have?
Yes. Actually, that's the one room I quite like.
Have you ever had a nose job?
Nose job? Wow. Never even heard that one. Clearly not by the little conch I have here.
I was going to say, get your money back.
They call...
Everyone's allowed an imperfection. No, yours is your hooter.
They call I quite like the little ridge. And
I like
they call it the Tweedy snack.
A Tweedy snack?
Yes.
I've
got a Tweedy nose.
A Tweedy snack?
Yeah.
So you'll never get it fixed, you don't think?
Are you suggesting I need to?
No. There's been a suggestion that you already has. I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility.
Wow. Absolutely.
You're happy with your Tweedy snack? I'm
happy with me. My cousin once said to me, and this was before I even knew I had the Tweedy snack, I love the fact that you just go on and you've got the Tweedy snack and the bump in your nose. Makes me feel more comfortable about mine. And I didn't even know before.
See, the weird thing for me is when you've been frowning, and you have been frowning at me quite a lot so far, it actually seems to move. I'm quite surprised by that as well. I work on Britain's Got Talent with Botox-fueled people. So, you know, when I turn to my left, it's just... So to see a judge in front of me where it actually moves is quite surprising. You don't even do Botox?
I'm only 27.
Yeah, but I'm quite impressed. I'm saluting you, really.
I would be terrified. Again, it's not... I'm not judgmental of anybody that does it, else I wouldn't be sat next to Simon. It's just not something I choose to do or feel like I need to right now at this moment. Ask us in 10 years, maybe we'll be talking like this.
I mean, do you have anything against plastic surgery?
No, I don't.
Could you imagine going under the knife in 10 years' time?
I mean, in 10 years' time, who knows? I wouldn't have imagined a lot of things that have happened in the past 10 years had you have asked us back then. So I would never say never, ever in this life, never say never. But It's just not something I feel the need to do.
Did you, according to The Sun, become dangerously thin and live on a diet of mint tea?
No, I don't think you can you?
I've no idea. Never tried it, but people have suggested I ought to.
Maybe you should try. We'll see. The outcome may be that you can't survive.
Cheryl?
I'm joking. I'm messing.
Supposed to be an angel.
I'm messing.
Did you buy a £35,000 wind tunnel to keep fit so that you could be as thin as Danny Minogue?
Wow. That's a good one.
Is it true?
Does it exist?
Do you keep fit in a wind tunnel?
A Piers, is that a serious question?
Yes. Do you ever get into one? I've seen one of these things. You get in them and then you get blown away by turrets of wind.
No, absolutely never heard of it.
Do you ever diet or not?
I'm always, like, aware of what I eat. And I have days where I just want to eat what I want to eat. Especially as a woman, you have those days. And then I'm one of those people that'll have burger and chips, and then for the whole of the rest of the day go, wish I'd never ate those burger and chips. Wish I'd never ate those burger. Why did I eat those burger and chips? While I'm eating a packet of crisps.
You've had a very traumatic year, everybody knows that, for a number of reasons, and everyone's been giving lots of attention to your health. How are you actually feeling physically right now?
It's actually been just over the 12 weeks, so all my blood is new and I feel great.
Are you back to your fighting best, do you think? Are you feeling 100%?
I'm probably feeling 95, and I don't think for a long time I felt 100, so I'm definitely on my way.
People knew that you were sick. Then came the stories about malaria, but no one has ever really worked out the truth about this.
Right.
Now we're going to get the chance.
In July this year, Cheryl took time out from her busy schedule and jetted off for a holiday in Africa with her close friend Derek Hoff.
Cheryl and I decided to go to Tanzania on holiday. It was a fantastic time. We got a few little mosquito bites here and there, but we had taken the tablets and we thought, you know, everything would be okay.
2 weeks later, Cheryl was at the X Factor auditions in Cardiff when she began to feel ill.
We genuinely thought she had a hangover on the day. That's what somebody told us, so we were teasing her all day long. And we didn't think anything about it till the following day when I get a phone call to say that she's collapsed on a photo shoot.
When I arrived at the photo session, I could tell she was so weak, she was grey, and for some strange reason I thought her face looked a bit puffy.
Cheryl was sent home to rest and a doctor was called.
Right before the doctor left, I just kind of had this kind of overwhelming feeling of she needs to get her blood, you know, checked.
He didn't know it yet, but Derek's quick thinking may have saved Cheryl's life.
The couriering of the blood and the alerting of the hospital and the prompt response by the medical team, I think, really was essential.
The doctor said, you know, she needs to come in right now.
Cheryl was in serious trouble and was rushed to intensive care.
Her body had swelled so much. I couldn't see her eyes, they were just like slits. It was a different person.
Tests confirmed doctors' worst fears. Cheryl had malaria.
There are 4 types. She had the worst one, and it's a dangerous, life-threatening type of malaria.
The kidneys weren't working, the lungs were filled with fluid, there was parasites all over in her blood.
Cheryl was told that the next 36 hours would be make or break for her.
She was deteriorating all the time. Her breathing was much worse as time went by, and we thought it was only fair to let everyone know just how seriously ill she was.
I remember Cheryl saying, you know, am I going to die? And I remember the doctor coming up to her and saying, there's a possibility.
I don't know how somebody copes with the fact they might die.
I suppose the obvious question is that when the doctor said that to you, that there was a possibility you might die, I mean, what was going through your mind?
I was just so weak and sick. I was actually thinking, if it's going to happen, please just hurry up. I wasn't scared. I was tired. I was exhausted. I'd been sick for a while and I was just over it. I was over feeling so ill.
Did you realise how serious it was?
It was actually day after my birthday. I got the first symptoms, and I'd had 2-3 vodkas the night before, and I never drink. I'm not a drinker. And I just thought, this really affects me. I woke up in the morning and I was putting my moisturiser on, my skin hurt. My skin was sore. And I thought, oh, this is the worst hangover I've ever had. But not for 1 second did malaria cross my mind. Not for 1 second.
Even though you'd just been to Africa?
Not at all.
So you're getting steadily worse. You get to this photo shoot when it gets dramatic suddenly. Talk me through what happened there.
Again, same thing, got up in the morning. My skin was sore to touch. My lips were blue. And I was drenched. And I got to the photo shoot and the girl I work with, who knows me more than anybody, said, this is not right. We need to schedule some time off. I think you're exhausted.
Then what happened?
Sorry. One second. God, I really don't want it to be morbid. I really don't want it to be like this.
But I think people are realising, probably for the first time, how serious this was.
It's only 12 weeks ago. It's very raw.
Do you remember the moment when you collapsed?
I'd been really excited to do the photo shoot. It was for Vogue. And they'd flown a photographer in from New York and dropped him at the wrong airport. This is what I remember specifically. And he'd driven 3 hours to get to the photo shoot. And they were saying to me, go home, and I remember thinking, this poor guy, he's driven, he's had a terrible time getting here, driven all the way here. I said, just let me lie down for an hour, I'll be okay. And that was it. I was out like a light. I did the photo shoot. And I went home and that was the night. That was the night.
The key moment of that evening was Derek saying you've got to have a blood test. And what has become clear from interviewing your doctor is that if he'd not done that, you may well not have survived. So effectively, Derek saved your life.
Well, absolutely. And I'm a bit pathetic when it comes to needles. Like, I can't, it has to be a baby one. And I was actually really angry with him for suggesting that I get my blood taken. Like, you're making me have a needle. Little did I know, he saved my life.
Your mother said in her interview that your organs began to fail. Are you even aware of any of this?
I remember actually feeling like I was dying, if that makes any sense. And I just wanted to know the truth, was I? And out of all that, that's what I remember asking.
It's a cliche, but does your life flash before you in a moment like that? What are you thinking? Your family around you?
It doesn't seem real. It's very, very surreal. And my mother never showed me her emotion there and then. She was strong. And I think there was a point I said to her, what they laugh about now, you make sure you get someone here tomorrow to write my will.
You said that?
Yeah. And I remember thinking to myself, my sister can have that. I know it's like, now looking back, it feels very surreal, but at the time, it seemed like almost matter of fact.
Did you feel ready to fight then?
I was too tired. I was tired. I can't even describe to you. It's not like you feel.
You were completely in a complete breakdown of exhaustion.
Exhaustion. And I'd been ill for a few days. There's only so much of that you can take before you start thinking, okay, enough. And I remember as I was getting better, and me oxygen was open, everything was improving, thinking to myself, God, I don't know how other people with other illnesses can be so sick all the time. And aren't I so lucky that in 10 days' time this is going to be gone for me? But there's people out there that are seriously ill and feel this physically tired and ill most of the time.
You owe a lot to Derek.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty amazing thing that he did. Just his instinct probably saved your life.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good friend to have.
He's an amazing, amazing person. And I can never repay him for that. That's my life.
What is the truth about you and Derek? I mean, I've seen you together in Los Angeles. Thought, pretty hot couple. I did. I like him a lot.
So do I.
He's smart, intelligent, good looking, well dressed.
Yeah.
Great dancer. About your height.
I'll tell you the one thing that's come from everything I've experienced in the past up to now is that this is the last time I will ever talk about my private, personal life. This is it. This is the last time. I'm not willing to sit here and say, he's my boyfriend, he's not my boyfriend. I'm not prepared to deny, admit anything, and I don't have to. People are going to speculate on what I do and what's going on in my life regardless to what I say. So we're very, very close. That's obvious. People can speculate what the hell they like.
What I liked about him was he's very protective of you, and he seemed to make you happy, regardless of any romantic thing. That's the impression I got. Everybody
That's in my life, I'm with them because they're great people. And they're all very, very protective and strong and just great people. I don't want to surround myself with anything else.
Next time Derek says, I've got a great idea, let's go on holiday to Gambia. What are you going to say?
Let's go.
I just don't think somebody like you would fall in love and marry a complete idiot.
You know, apart from the obvious, he never tried his bad. He's not a bad person, just a nice guy.
Did you always want to be a star?
I wouldn't say... it depends what... an entertainer. It's in me blood.
You were a little show-off, really, weren't you?
Oh, complete show-off. Yeah. Well, I was one of 5.
And where do you come in the
four. So it was always kind of my way of saying, I'm here, showbiz, jazz hands, hi. Hi, guys. And me brothers and sisters were always like, dance for me friends, or go and run and do and jump into the splits, and I would do it. And I was like, I was the show off, and I think I found really early on that entertaining people was really fun.
And did you like that feeling of being able to make people laugh and applaud
love
you?
it.
And...
Yeah. First of all, I was really energetic, so I loved the feeling it gave me dancing as well. But to see somebody enjoying it, that's a great feeling. And I think I discovered that really, really early on.
Did it make you ambitious? Were you hungry for fame and success?
Success.
Everyone says that. Don't you really, when you're young, want to be famous?
No, it never really... Fame for me, actually, is defined by success. I wouldn't just want to be known, a known person. If fame is you're known for something you're successful at. And I love the feeling of self-achievement. So pushing yourself to the limit and feeling that feeling of achievement, like when I bought my first car. I remember getting in it and thinking, wow.
How much was it?
I'll keep that to myself.
I didn't realise you'd attended the Royal Ballet School when you were like 9 years old. But you left quite quickly. What happened there?
I actually went to audition for it.
There you are.
I actually remember that day like
So even then,
yesterday.
that is a showbiz grin. I'm sorry, it is.
No, I went to audition for it and we couldn't afford the scholarship to go. Actually, really ironically, the Daily Star paid for me to go.
Really?
Yeah.
So without the tabloid press, you'd be nowhere, would you?
This is actually very true. No, it is true.
At the Royal Ballet School, were they a bit snooty to you?
This was the first time I ever felt class. Because I never knew anything different. You go to somewhere like that and there's a lot of wealth and a lot of higher class than you. And
Privileged.
Privileged.
Did you feel a bit of an outsider?
Complete outsider. Completely.
But did you also feel that you were as good as them, but you weren't getting a fair crack of the whip?
It's almost like it overshadowed how I felt about dance because I felt so out of place. So when I was dancing, it felt great, but it made us realise, actually, I don't want to be amongst this.
See, part of your appeal, I'd say, is your ordinariness in many ways. Did you see yourself that way?
I still sometimes feel like I just moved down to London for a bit. It doesn't
You
feel...
still feel a proper, fully-fledged Geordie?
I am.
You haven't called me pet yet.
I always will. We'll get there, pet.
What I heard about you from your old Newcastle days is that you could be a bit feisty.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate way of describing the young Cheryl?
I think describing me still.
You don't suffer fools. People take you on, you'll fight your corner.
Yeah, of course. That's how I was brought up. That's how I was raised. That's what I was taught to do and to be like, and that's how I am.
Have you had many fights?
Couple.
Yeah. Normally win?
I'll give it my best shot.
How many times have you actually, clenched your fist and just gone...
To a person? I'd like to do it to you.
We've established that you're feisty, but how have you used that feistiness to get where you are today?
By the time she was 19, Cheryl had already tried her hand at child modelling and ballet dancing in her quest for fame.
Cheryl was such a funny little character. She was singing, dancing, 2-year-old. It was just the next step from where she was going all her life.
When TV talent show pop stars The Rivals came to town, Cheryl saw the opportunity she'd really been looking for, to sing.
You're Cheryl.
Yeah.
Tweedy. Where are you from?
Newcastle.
If you watch that first performance, you can tell by her demeanour that she's not taking any prisoners.
Ready? Sometimes it's wrong to walk away.
As far as she was concerned, she was already in the group.
Suddenly the moment's gone, and all your dreams are upside down, and you just want to change the way the world goes round.
There was no question to me that this girl would make it.
Baby, baby, since first we met, I knew.
Cheryl sailed through the elimination shows.
I remember thinking she had such a warm personality, and I think her dimples are so cute that I thought, oh.
Cheryl was first to make it into the band.
Cheryl!
She jumped up like a football hooligan and punched the air and went, yes, come on!
I screamed like a lunatic. You couldn't control. I was up, down, sit down. I couldn't. I was just jumping all over the place.
Girls Aloud were born.
Cheryl is like the older sister I never had, and I'm like the younger sister that she never had. So we have that kind of relationship, which is lovely.
There was one girl in that group that wanted Girls Aloud to succeed more than all the others. Cheryl would have literally fought anybody who didn't think they were going to win. And I mean that.
Girls Aloud's first single went straight to the top of the charts. They quickly became the biggest girl band in Britain, and Cheryl in particular proved a big hit with the press. When she hooked up with Premiership footballer Ashley Cole in August 2004, the couple were quickly dubbed the new Posh and Becks. 2 years after their first date, the happy couple married in a lavish ceremony. She wore a £100,000 dress. The Chihuahua Buster wore a matching Diamante suit. It was the relationship that was to define her. When did you first set eyes on Ashley?
I met him a few times. We lived in the same complex. I knew he played football and that was about it. And he was really shy. Painfully shy, that's all I knew. Didn't know, he wasn't one of those people that let you know his character straight away.
So when was the first time you actually spoke to him?
It mustn't have been that memorable.
Well, it was for him, because apparently his first words to you were, "Hey, hot lips, nice bum." He's got a point. And that was, I think, because you lived in the same area. You lived in the same block, didn't you? Sort of.
Yeah, we lived in the same area, the same block.
You can't remember the first time you talked to him?
Not the first time I talked to him. I remember that incident.
What was your reaction to, "Hey, hot lips, nice bum"?
Piss off. I don't like stuff like that.
Did you think he was a bit flash, typical kind of footballer with that kind of chat?
Not really. I didn't. I just thought, oh, get me out of this road quick. It's really embarrassing when there's a group of I think I was dragging a Hoover. I was dragging a Hoover from Kimberley's to ours. So I think I just thought, get me out of this road quick.
When was the first date? I mean, how did he go about this, given this poor start?
God, I really should know this. We just got to know each other. We exchanged numbers.
I read you wouldn't give him your number for a while. You had to be very persistent and get it through a friend.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Where do you go on your first date? Do you remember that?
His house, because we couldn't go you know, given his status and I was a member of Girls Aloud, it would have just been...
Did he cook for you?
You're joking, aren't you?
What did you get, pizza? I mean, how does this work when you're two massive stars in an apartment?
I think just on the first day, you drink wine.
Just wine. And what did you think of him?
I thought he was great. Sensitive. A good person, just a nice guy.
You start going out, and then it gets out, goes public, and it's like a bomb's gone off. It's like the ultimate tabloid love fest. Hot pop star, hot England soccer star, boom. What's it like to be in the middle of that when it goes off?
I've never actually thought about that. It's your relationship.
You're going from these secret assignations that nobody knows about when it's all sweet
But
and
we
nice.
knew as soon as we were seen in public, people were going to know, and that's a conscious decision that we made once we said, OK, we want this relationship to work, then you can't sit in a flat for the rest of your life. We just wanted to go out like any other normal couple, like you do when you start dating. And I think we went to a nightclub. It was after an award ceremony for me, so I just met him there and then I left. And somebody saw us in there. It wasn't the end of the world. We're not doing anything wrong. We loved each other.
A single woman, single guy.
So what?
And were you in love with him by then?
Probably thought I was, yeah.
He'd already declared his love for you by then.
Had he?
Apparently...
You know more than I do.
I know a lot. I wrote most of it.
And that's where the problem lies.
He apparently told friends, or you told friends, that he turned green when he told you he loved you.
I don't know, Piers.
Had you been in love before?
I thought, well, you think so, don't you?
How many times have you thought you're in love?
I feel like I always love the person I'm with then. You know? That's life.
So how many?
What are you asking specifically here?
I'm just curious. I'm curious as to how many times you've been in love. It's not the Spanish Inquisition. It's just like, you know.
Feels like it. How many times have you been in love?
Well, I'll tell you if you tell me. You loved Ashley.
Of course.
You've said since that you'd never been in a relationship where you'd been treated so like a princess. Is that accurate? Is that what you really felt about it?
Yeah, of course. Like there wasn't any worries. Like we were meant for each other.
Why did you think he was the one?
God. Piers. Do you really want to know all this stuff?
I really want to know.
Why?
I just don't think somebody like you would fall in love and marry a complete idiot.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate. And, you know, apart from the obvious, he never tried his bad. He's not a bad... Yeah. Why the GS? What is this about?
Well, it's personal for you, isn't it? I know that. And you don't normally talk about this kind of thing. And it's, you know, it was the defining relationship of your life so far.
And do you know what it is for me? It's not me past. It's very much me present. I'm still a person. I'm still getting divorced. I'm still... It hurts. It's embarrassing. It's life.
Do you still love him?
There's part of us I'll always love him, of course. It's a big part of my life. And I love his family. And I love what we had.
Do you think he still wants you back?
I don't think he ever wanted to let her go.
when you got married, it was the happiest day of your life. Can you remember how you felt that day?
Euphoric, like it was the happiest day of my life. Calm. Happy.
And did you absolutely believe then that this would last forever?
Oh, I would never have took my vows if I didn't. It's not a joke. It's not something you go into lightheartedly. And it's not something you go into thinking, if I feel differently later, it doesn't matter.
For you, the vows were very important.
Yeah. It's just a chapter in my life that I don't want to feel miserable about it or unhappy.
But even though you're now divorced, can you get any happy memory from the marriage?
I feel numb. It's my reality. To other people, it's their entertainment. I don't want to cry. Let's talk about happy things.
It's not, obviously, this is not a happy period that I'm discussing now. No. When did you realise that the marriage wasn't working? Was there any sense of it not working before?
Not at all.
So until then, you thought you were very happily married?
Complete and utter happiness.
And total trust in Ashley?
More than ever.
You enjoyed married life? You were...
I enjoy the stability of having, amongst all the madness, that one person that is there throughout. And is very normal and calm and not an inkling.
There were several factors that other people have claimed may have played a part in it not being perfect. One was professional, one was personal.
I don't think any marriage is perfect, is it?
No, but you told me, actually, once, that one of the things you regretted, with hindsight, was that Ashley was offered a huge deal to go to Real Madrid. That would have been massive money, long-term contract, his dream transfer, and that you didn't want him to go, and asked him not to do that.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to Chelsea, which made him incredibly unpopular.
Yeah.
The most hated footballer in the country for quite a long time.
Right.
And that you felt quite guilty about that, but you felt your own career was as important as his, and he couldn't do that.
Yeah, I do. What was I going to do? Move to Spain? Move my whole life over there? Everything I knew? And be a housewife? I didn't want to live my life like that. It's not what makes us happy. And I thought that would have caused more problems. And it wasn't my decision by any shot, it was ours.
When you saw how unpopular he became, particularly with Arsenal fans, but also with football fans generally, who perceived him as being greedy and all the rest of it, going to Chelsea, did you feel guilty? Did you feel that maybe you should have just gone to Spain, made the sacrifice?
No, it was... I mean, if it had got to a point where that was absolutely where he wanted to go, then there would have been further talks, but there was the option for him to either... The options were go to Chelsea up the road and everybody gets on with their life, or you move completely to a foreign country.
I've got to ask you about this, and I know you're not going to find this comfortable. Do you remember where you were when you first heard the allegations that Amy Walton was making, that Ashley had cheated on you with her?
Yes. At home.
And how did you hear?
From a phone call.
From Ashley?
No. It's, you know, it's funny because hearing you back now, it's like a, you know, I'm saying things I've never heard myself say.
What do you want to say about it?
I'm not here to expose anything or talk about those feelings other than to say I was just a heartbroken girl. I wasn't a footballer's wife in an ivory tower and with all the lovely things, and so it'll be fine. I was just underneath it all, just a heartbroken girl.
Was part of it the shock? You just couldn't believe Ashley had let you down?
All of it initially. Shock.
Because he kind of warned you, hadn't he, before, that he thought something may have happened. He'd got drunk, he'd gone out, been stupid. Did that lessen the blow, or did it just not make any difference?
Do you know, when all's said and done, and you realise the circumstances, it doesn't make any difference when your heart's breaking.
I'm not going to go into the details of all this, because I can see you don't want to talk about this. Other than to say that, obviously, you took him back, and then further revelations came out involving other women, which, for you, were clearly the final blow to the marriage.
I don't really want to say anything other than anybody that's been through a divorce knows it's one of the toughest things that you could go through. And on such a public scale, and not being able to have the privacy you need to deal with those feelings is really, really hard.
Is that one of those times when you just wish you were anonymous?
Yes.
You weren't Cheryl Cole, you were just...
You just want to go home to Newcastle. Hate.
Do you still speak to Ashley at all?
Yeah.
Often? You have regular conversations? Or?
I hope one day that we can be friends. Just have to get through the obstacles.
Do you think he still wants you back?
I don't think he ever wanted to let her go. We had a great relationship. Don't get it. Do not get it. Don't get it. Be best friend. God, this is turning into therapy.
Do you feel any better for talking about it? Does it help?
Ask us in a couple of hours.
Do you understand why people are curious? Why they kind of feel like they need to know the truth from you, because otherwise they don't know what to believe?
Yeah, understand it.
I mean, I find it gripping to hear you say these things, simply because I've read so much stuff about you, your marriage, your life and everything. To actually hear it from the horse's mouth is incredibly compelling to listen to. I'm sure everybody watching this is feeling the same way. But no one can watch you talking like this and not feel heartbroken themselves for you. It's a heartbreaking story.
It is. I'm not the first and I won't be the last. Everybody that's felt heartache knows how it feels, and I just have to be able now to put it to bed and find me strength again to move on. I remember being back behind the screens, just thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself?
You've had a tough time of it, but one thing you are, Cheryl, is a fighter.
Cheryl's been an X Factor favourite now for over 2 years.
She's got a great heart, Cheryl. That's why people like her.
I think the industry's missing a boy band. You're cute, you're really cute.
Thank you. I think I remember just thinking you was made for this job.
Girls Aloud?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yes.
It's all in her eyes. You watch Cheryl Cole's eyes during an audition, you can see the way that she's feeling, and that's what makes her unique. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Throughout her time on the show, she's lived her private life in public.
Cheryl's a fighter, clear as day. I mean, what she does, she's been through a lot. She fights through it, and she doesn't give in.
I personally think part of her popularity is the fact that she wears her heart on her sleeve.
To be crushed again, I can't imagine having this be feeling because I reckon this was his last shot.
Anyone can relate to what she went through, but she doesn't hide it. When she's sad, she shows she's sad. When she's happy, she shows she's happy. But she also knows that other people have gone through what she's gone through, so she's not living in some weird fairy tale world. You know, she's a realist. She's not somebody who feels sorry for herself.
So when Cheryl released her debut single, Fight for This Love, it was a real statement of intent.
She wanted to get her message across, and she did.
She really sang that song from her heart. She was going through trouble with her, personal relationship.
Cheryl's single, Promise This, marks a new chapter in her life. So what does the future hold for one of Britain's most desirable women?
I think I'd just like to see Cheryl with somebody who would bring out all the best qualities in her.
I hope she falls in love again.
There's speculation whether or not she's found it now. If she has, I'm really pleased for her.
I'm sure, it'll come a time that she'll find love again. And she will blossom even more than she is now.
The main thing I want for her is to be happy. That's all I want for her, and that's all I think anybody wants for somebody that they care about.
I remember you performing the Fight for Your Love, watching and thinking, how can she do this, given all that was going on?
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I remember being back behind the screens, just thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? And then the other parrot, or whatever it is, the other one, says to you, no, go on, go for it,
What did you think you were saying with that performance and that particular song? What was the other parrot telling you to get out there?
It's, to be a fighter, to bring out the fighter in you and feel the fear and do it anyway.
Music is obviously massively important to you.
The biggest thing in my life.
Did you find it a solace, music, a therapeutic crutch, if you like?
Always, yeah. My whole life I've used music. That's why it feels like you're in such a unique position to be able to do that to somebody else. And I hear stories all the time. I just did a book signing the other week, and every single person that came to us had something to say about how my music or my songs had touched their lives, and that's a pretty incredible position to be in. And to think that I feel a certain way about music and that I can make somebody feel like that is the best feeling in the world.
It was interesting watching your reaction to Simon Cowell talking about you, because you kept nodding.
Simon is one of the most important people in my life. One, he changed my life when he invited us onto the X Factor. But most importantly, he gets it. He gets me like nobody else, and I've never met anybody like that before.
What does he get?
how quick my thoughts go, and he can just stop and process them. It's really bizarre. We've got a really... It's kind of uncanny how similar we are. And that scares me to say out loud.
Everybody interviewed in that last video just wants you to be happy. Do you think you can be quite quickly? Do you think you can move on?
I think I can definitely move on. And I think this is going to be a big milestone for me, and it's going to be a point where I've said it now, and I'm ready to get back to myself.
Don't you kind of wish you were mates with them? Just a little bit. Right, here's what's happening tomorrow night if you're thinking of toddling off to bed. I'll see you at 8 for Gossip Girl, and then Brand New Pete is on at 9, and then you can see if Harry does the splits again at 10.